Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. I'm Papa Boris, and in this video I'd like to take you through the changes that were rolled out to Hearthstone in the closed beta patch that arrived on Tuesday of this week. I will provide a link to the full changes so you can take a look at them yourself, and of course you can also just pop open your Battle.net client and read the patch notes yourself that way as well. But what I want to do here is skip around, focus on what I think are the most important changes, and also give you my opinion on them so that hopefully we can start some discussion in the comments to this video. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to start with the card imbalance changes because those are the ones that interest me the most. So, there was a big change made to Priest. Mind Control now costs 10 mana, up from 8, which is a really big deal. This is a change that I like, even though I don't think it was necessary. I think the card was balanced previously. I think, especially if you watch the arena runs on my channel, you could see how you could play around Mind Control in a way that you really couldn't play around, say, anything that a mage does. But I like the change. Even though I don't think it was necessary, it's nice now that when I'm up against a priest, I can play stuff a whole 2 extra turns without having to worry about Mind Control. In Hearthstone, 1 turn can make all the difference. One turn is a huge deal, so 2 turns is really great. There is a change to Warlock. I did not see this coming. I don't think anyone did either. So Flame Imp now deals 3 damage when it comes into play. It used to only deal 2. So Flame Imp is a 3/2 for 1 mana that used to deal 2 damage when it came into play to you. Now it deals 3 damage. So this will make Warlocks a less tempting choice for the arena because Flame Imps were a pretty big staple of Warlock gameplay. I'm not a big fan of this change. I don't know that Warlocks were overpowered. Maybe they were. I don't have the data, but this is not a change I'm a particularly big fan of. 3 damage is a frickin' hell of a lot of damage, considering that really all you're doing is saving 1 mana. You're getting a 2 mana creature stats for 1 mana. That does not seem to be worth 3 damage to me. There were some changes made to neutral cards. So Argent Commander, which is a 6 mana 4/3 with Divine Shield and Charge, is now a 4/2 with Divine Shield and Charge. And Shattered Sun Cleric, a 3/3 for 3, which gives another creature +1/+1, is now just a 3/2. These are fantastic changes because honestly those cards were incredibly good. Even now the cards are still incredibly good because their special effects are very powerful, but I think that having them be at 2 health rather than 3 makes them easier to kill significantly, and that reduces the impact that those cards have on the board. Especially if you play like a Shattered Sun Cleric on turn 3 and buff whatever you played on turn 2. You just get off to such an astoundingly huge lead. Because a 3/3 is, it's a pretty big deal on turn 3. Having it be a 3/2 so that now, Loot Hoarders and other 2 toughness creatures can swing into it and it'll die to, backstab and slam and whatnot, makes a really big difference, and I'm glad that Blizzard is taking the time to nerf these really commonly used, really strong neutral cards. I predict in the future that Knife Juggler will see a similar nerf, as will Defender of Argus, and possibly even the Dark Iron Dwarf. Now there's one class, of course, that is grossly overpowered, and that a lot of people have been complaining about for a long time. I'm talking, of course, about the Hunter class, which saw 2 pretty big nerfs in this patch. Starving Buzzard is a 2/2 beast that when you play a beast draws you a card. Well, now Blizzard made it so that it's a 2/1. The difference between 2 health and 1 health is a gigantic deal. It's not just that rogues, druids, and mages can kill those creatures for free. But, it dies to Inner Rage, and it dies to Whirlwind, and it dies to Mortal Coil, and it dies to the Paladin's 1/1 recruits, it dies to Earthshock and Frostshock. Every single class benefits from having Starving Buzzard go down from a 2/2 to a 2/1. Now, the explanation that Blizzard gives is that at some ranks Hunter was too strong against Mage, Druid, and Rogue. I honestly think that Blizzard has just misused their data. Statistics don't show everything. There didn't seem to be any particular reason to nerf the Starving Buzzard, and now that it's nerfed, it's going to reduce options for Hunters, which were already not a very overpowered class to begin with. I just think this is a bad change. I'm keeping an open mind. I am willing to see if I was wrong, but I think the change was really stupid. And Blizzard also made a change to Unleash the Hounds. Now, Unleash the Hounds used to be 1 mana, your beasts get +1 attack, and charge. So it was a cornerstone of the 1-turn kill, or OTK, Hunter deck that was seeing some use in Ranked. Blizzard seems not to have liked the idea of a deck that kills the opponent in one turn and can only be minimally interacted with, so they announced that they were going to make a change to Unleash the Hounds. I thought maybe they would raise the mana cost or nerf it in some way. What they did instead was they just changed the card completely. It's now costing 4 mana, and the effect is, for each minion, summon a 1/1 Hound with charge. As you can see, that's completely different. So the one-turn Hunter combo kill deck, I believe, no longer exists. I mean, you just don't have the thing to give all your beasts charge anymore. So yeah, that deck is pretty much gone. So my opinions about this are complicated. On the one hand, I don't like the fact that they changed the card to something that, in my eyes, appears to suck. Now, I'm not always the best at evaluating cards in a vacuum. I have been wrong in the past, so perhaps I'm wrong about this as well. But this new card appears to suck. It is conditional, meaning that it only works some of the time. Your opponent needs to have minions on the board. And even if your opponent has the right circumstances for you to actually be able to play this card, it's still not very good. Like, let's say your opponent has 3 minions on the field, which, let's face it, in a Hearthstone game, having 3 minions on the field is kind of a lot, given how much creatures die and trade with each other. You get, you know, a 3/3 with charge for 4 mana. It's not that good. That's like worse than a Kor'kron Elite that the Warriors get, which is a 4/3 with charge for 4 mana. So your opponent needs to have at least 4 minions for this to be like remotely good. And also, you need to have space on your side of the field. So if you have like 4 minions in play already yourself, you can only put out, you know, 3 of these hounds. So someone made a very popular Wombo combo video showing how this combos really incredibly well with starving hyenas or scavenging hyenas. You know, you make the hounds, you have them all run in and die, and then the hyena gets huge. So I guess it still has some kind of potential. Maybe there will now be like a new one-turn kill, you know, hyena hound deck. I don't know. But, I don't know, I'm kind of tortured. On the one hand, I really hated the one-turn kill deck. I'm glad that that crap's not in the game. I don't think the game needs non-interactive combo decks like that. But on the other hand, I kind of wish that the new card that they made in its place didn't seem to suck quite so bad. Okay, but I was just joking, of course, when I said that Hunter was an overpowered class. Of course, I was talking about the Mage class. So let's take a moment to talk about all of the changes that Blizzard made to the grossly overpowered Mage class. Okay, let's talk about the other changes then. So now in the arena, the maximum number of games you can win is 12, which is kind of nifty. I saw someone posted on Reddit how much gold they made for a 12-win run. It was like ridiculous. There was like a box with 200 some gold, and there was another box with like 150. Like, you make a crazy amount of gold. Now, I haven't done the math on this yet, but it's a very, very small percentage of people that's actually going to be able to make it up to 12 wins. Only 3% of the population can make it to 9 wins or higher, and that 3% is going to be split across 10, 11, 12, and 9 wins. So, off the cuff, it seems like it's like less than 1% of the population is going to be reaching any one of those levels with any kind of regularity. So, it's going to be tough to get up there, but it's nice, I suppose, to have something to strive towards. Then there's the second bullet here. Arena rewards have been restructured. This is the most obnoxious thing in the entire patch notes. I want to just smack in the face whoever wrote this. Okay, they've been restructured. How? Like, are you gonna change how much money people are winning? Are you gonna change what the likelihood is of certain rewards coming up? Like, tell us more here. So I've made a new stat sheet from now on in my arena runs. I'm gonna keep track of my gold gains separately from how I used to track them. Just playing in the arena once and hearing from a couple of friends, you know, now the number of boxes that you get at the end of a run is no longer 5. Sometimes all your gold is in one box. Sometimes you still have a couple of boxes with gold in them. One of my friends played an arena, got to 8 wins, and only made like 185 gold. I had never seen 8 wins go below 210 myself. So it seems like it's not just that Blizzard put the rewards that you get into a different number of boxes. There appear to also be some changes to how much money you're getting at each level, and I'm really kind of pissed that they did not talk about what those changes are, because I think that we should know. I think that the players should know if, you know, 5 wins is different now, if 4 wins is different now, like if the amount of gold that you can expect to get is different at the different levels. I think that's something that we should know. The biggest change, perhaps, though, of the entire patch is the change to ranked mode. So you can read about this and, you know, if you want all the grisly details, but in a nutshell, there are now 25 ranks. You start at rank 25, you work your way up to rank number 1. If you go beyond rank number 1, you become a legend, and you can see exactly what your ranking is as long as you're one of the top 10,000 players in your region. And the best part is that once you make it to rank 20, which is, most of the spectrum here, 20 all the way down to 1, when you're in that range, if you lose a game, you actually lose a star. And what that means is that getting up to a high rank finally actually means something. Before this patch, if someone was a 3-star master, that meant absolutely nothing, except for the fact that they played the game a lot. Now if someone is, rank 12, that actually means a goddamn thing, which I really like, because that makes Constructed a lot more compelling. So those are the major changes. I'm going to also mention 2 that are fairly minor and give my opinions about those. So one is this last bullet here under general. So the amount of gold gained by winning games in play mode per day is now capped at 100. This is something that some people are really upset about. And I can see why, because I was kind of hoping actually Blizzard would increase the amount of gold gained in play mode. 10 gold for 3 wins is really not very much. And it's a huge disincentive for people to play in the arena, because if you're bad at the arena, it takes forever to save up money to get an arena entry ticket. And, making it so that people made a little bit more gold in play mode would perhaps entice more people to stick with the arena, as opposed to getting into the situation where we're in now, where everyone who's bad pretty much drops out, and all the people playing are already pretty good, making the arena, harder for everybody. So, that's kind of unfortunate. But the cap is kind of like the, as I would say, fuck icing on the shit cake, where not only did Blizzard not increase how much gold people are making in play mode, but they actually capped how much gold you can make. However, upon reflecting on this, I decided this is not that big of a deal. Basically, as it says here, Blizzard did that to stop some, exploits that people were using to farm gold. In order to get 100 gold with the current system, assuming Blizzard doesn't change it, you need to win 30 games. That's a lot of games to win, especially because, your win rate's not going to be 100%, so you need to win, you need to actually, play somewhere between, 40 and 70 games before you actually win 30. Even if you're at that upper end of the spectrum, even if you only have to play 40 games to win 30, most people are not going to be playing 40 Hearthstone constructed games a day, so I don't think this is going to be that big of a deal for most people. And finally, this is actually the first bullet point in the patch notes, but this is the last thing I'll talk about. Finally, you can now abandon 1 quest per day. So 1 daily quest per day, you can abandon it, and when you abandon it, you get a new random quest in its place. So I have mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, it's nice that folks can turn down a quest that they feel like they're unable to complete. Let's say, for example, you get Rogue or Warrior Dominance. Win 5 games with Rogue or Warrior, and you have no good Rogue or Warrior decks. That can be extremely frustrating. You could be at that for a long time. So I like that new players have the opportunity to get rid of quests that they don't like or that they feel like they're unequipped to complete. However, for advanced players, for people who've been playing the game for a decent amount of time, like I have and many of my viewers have, I'm not a big fan of this change, because what it basically means is that every day you need to log in and use your abandoned privilege to get rid of a 40 gold quest. Because when you've played the game for a while, it doesn't matter what the quest is, you can complete any quest in the game. The only thing that matters is how much gold does it pay out. The best quest is always the one that gives you 100 gold for winning 7 games, because that just gives you the most gold. The second best are the dominance quests, where you have to win 5 games with one of 2 different classes. Again, not because those are the easiest ones or whatever, it's just because I can beat any quest I get, so I want the one that gives the most gold. And what I'd like for the abandonments to kind of go on a rolling basis, just like you can stock up your daily quests. I'd like to be able to stock up your ability to abandon them. But no, you have to log in. So there's going to be an extra chore here. It's good for me, it benefits me, it helps me make more gold, but there's an extra chore now where even if I wasn't going to normally log into Hearthstone that day, I need to log into Hearthstone that day, and if it's a 40 gold quest, I want to abandon it, because it's like a reroll. It gives me a chance to get a 60 gold or the 100 gold quest. And that's kind of annoying. So I wish that Blizzard, had made this change that was positive for everybody, new players and advanced players alike, but, taken the time to just make it a little bit more accessible, a little bit easier to use for the advanced players who are just going to be using it as a reroll to get rid of their 40 gold quests, so that we wouldn't have to log in every single day and do this little chore that we're going to have to do to optimize our gold gains. Okay, so those were the changes that I thought were significant and my thoughts on all of them. If you have thoughts about the changes on your own, do please let me know in the comments what those are, if you agree with me or disagree, or if you think there was a change that I didn't talk about that you think is a really, really big deal. Let us know in the comments. I'd be happy to read that. Again, my name's Papa Boris. If this is your first video of mine that you're watching on the channel, I encourage you to stick around. I got a lot of arena games with commentary on this channel. I'm an above average player. You'll probably have fun watching me, so check that stuff out if you want to see some more Hearthstone content. Alright folks, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time. Till then...